Breaking news out of the NFL. An MRI today confirming Giants quarterback Daniel Jones has a torn ACL. Head coach Brian Daboll announcing that. Jones will miss the remainder of the season for the 2-7 Giants. That leaves the rookie Tommy DeVito as the QB for New York, but Daboll would not commit to him as the starter moving forward. The Giants placed second-string QB Tyrod Taylor on the IR over the weekend with a rib injury. So you look at the season stats for 2023 of Daniel Jones. This is it. A 67.5% completion percentage, 2 passing touchdowns compared to 6 interceptions, certainly leaving a lot to be desired for his numbers and overall for the Giants. We now bring in Ryan Wilson to talk a little bit more about the Daniel Jones news. And first, your initial reaction on the confirmation now that it is a torn ACL and Jones is out for the season.
Well, Zach, you can't question Daniel Jones' toughness. We saw the replay there when he did it, and he came back in and took another snap, and he went down. But a lot of times when you see those ACLs, that's it. You're done. You're helped off the field, and we see you in 8 to 9 months. He came back out there, and he just couldn't do it. He probably at the time didn't know what had happened, but here we are. So what's the situation going forward in the near term for this team? You sort of touched on it. They have Tommy DeVito, formerly of Syracuse, who transferred to Illinois. He's not the long-term answer. Let's just be frank about it. Coach Brian Daboll just said a few moments ago they also have Matt Barkley, the former Day 3 pick back in the day. He's bounced around the league. He's been in Buffalo as Josh Allen's backup a few years ago. Is he the long-term answer? No, he's not either. But this season, it feels lost, especially after what happened last year with how Brian Daboll came in and had this group playing together and exceeding expectations and winning more games than anyone thought. Daniel Jones had appeared to turn a corner. Tyrod felt like a backup that was capable of taking this team to win a few more football games. But as you just noted, he's now on IR with a rib injury. Darren Waller, who they signed the offseason's on IR. The offensive line has struggled, and the list goes on and on. So this is just one more nail in the coffin for the 2023 season, it feels like, for the New York Giants. And this comes on the heels, by the way, of an offseason in which they gave Daniel Jones 4 years, $160 million. Now, they can get out of that after the 24 season, but that's a conversation for a few months down the road. As we sit here right now, this is just terrible news for a Giants team that's had a terrible season to date as they sit here with 2 wins.
Yeah, so 2-7 on the year. As you said, kind of the team is done for, not making the playoffs more than likely this year. And we look at their schedule moving forward, and you see that you've got a date with the Cowboys coming up, then the Commanders. If you are the Giants right now, how do you go about it?
Do you believe in Jesus, Zach? Because I would suggest going to church and praying a lot, because there's going to be some things you're going to have to sort out, right? Look, you just got to show up to work, and you got to just believe in your teammates and believe in yourself. And hope isn't a plan, but right now hope is all that the Giants have. There's some free agents out there. The trade deadline just passed, so the timing couldn't be worse in terms of trying to get a quarterback. And we saw the Vikings do that, right, with Josh Dobbs. They go out and get Josh Dobbs after losing Kirk Cousins. On 5 days with his new team, he comes out and wills that team to a victory. So that's not going to happen. So now you have to think about maybe signing the quarterback if you don't think DeVito or Matt Barkley are the long-term answers. And then the question becomes, who's out there? Well, there's Carson Wentz. There's Colt McCoy. Nick Foles. So the pickings are slim. Colt McCoy feels like the best case alternative. But in terms of the near term and what you're going to have to do for this next matchup with the Cowboys, you lean on Saquon Barkley. You hope, again, hope isn't a plan. You hope the defense can make some plays, have some guys step up, and then just pray that Dak Prescott has one of those days where he throws 3 or 4 interceptions. Again, this is a worst-case scenario for a Giants team that was already reeling because of the injuries that had set that team back so far through the halfway point of this season.
So this season might be a wash for them, and let's say the losses start to pile up even more. Going forward, what do the Giants do at that QB position, because they paid Daniel Jones? Do you consider drafting a QB, saying you end up with a top 5 pick? Like how confident are you now in Daniel Jones?
Well, here's the thing. He did sign a 4-year deal, but they can get out from under it after 2024, after one more season. So whether Daniel Jones is, quote-unquote, their guy or not, and Joe Shane and Brian Daboll did not draft Daniel Jones. He was drafted by the previous regime. They did give him that contract extension. But as they sit here, and you sort of hinted at it, Zach, they have the number 4 overall pick. And quarterbacks 1 and 2 are Caleb Williams and Drake May, depending on who you ask in which order. But those are going to be the first 2 quarterbacks gone. They're going to be gone no later than pick 4. And it may be a situation where Joe Shane and Brian Daboll decide that they need to make a move for a quarterback. I don't know if they're going to win a lot more football games. So they may be in the Caleb Williams hunt if he is their QB1, in which case you absolutely, without question, draft that quarterback. Same holds for Drake May if he is, quote-unquote, your guy. Because whether you're in on Daniel Jones or not, you have him for 1 more year at an expensive, quote-unquote, rate, and then you can decide what to do with him. And has he lived up to expectations? No. Did we see him turning the corner last year in year 1 with Brian Daboll? Absolutely. Injuries along the offensive line with the quarterback now have set this team back. And I think that if you're in a position to draft a quarterback, you absolutely have to do it if you're not 100% sold or even 75% sold that Daniel Jones is a long-term solution.
Could be scary hours in the near future and the long-term future for the Giants as they try to figure everything out now with Daniel Jones out for the season with a torn ACL. Ryan Wilson joining us right now. I appreciate you for your time. Looking at the NFC East standings, and it is the Cowboys sitting there at the top. After that is the Cowboys, Commanders, and the Giants sitting at 2 and 7. Those odds to win the division, that's so many zeros. I can't even really say that out loud because that is a lot for the Giants. Things could get rough.